UFC 255, Figueiredo versus Perez just took place last night, and I'm going to go through the entire card, starting with the early prelims, ending with the main event, giving my reaction and breakdown to every single fight on the card, starting with our early prelim opener of Lewis Koshki versus Sasha Palatnikov. I thought this was the lock of the night. I picked Lewis Koshki. I didn't even just pick Lewis Koshki, I put money on Lewis Koshki to get the job done in the first round. And he didn't. He went out there and he tried to get it done in the first round, but Sasha Palatnikov, credit to him, he survived the early onslaught from Koshki, who had him in some trouble early. Came back in that round as well, had a great first round back against Koshki. It looked like Koshki was completely done at the end of the first round, so the odds completely swayed in Palatnikov's favour. But Koshki actually had a decent second round, still lost the second round, but still, Koshki showed that he had a little bit of a gas tank. But then in the third round, Koshki went out there and it was very obvious. It was kind of obvious by the takedown at the start of the second round. It seemed like Koshki was dipping in and out of hope. You know what I mean? Falling in and out of hope with us, because it was just a bit of a problem. Like, that diving for the takedown at the start of the second round is not something I want to see. And also for him to be that gassed out with all of the groin shot breaks that he had, it was a little bit worrying moving forward for Koshke, but maybe he learns from this mistake. Maybe Orion Koshke learns from this. I mean, Orion Koshke's always been the guy with the cardio out of the two brothers. Looking forward to seeing what he can do in his debut, but still, Palatnikov gets the job done, ruins everyone's parlays, I imagine, because Koshke was a good pick, in my opinion. Palatnikov's been KO'd twice, but these things happen, and Palatnikov showed up big, earned his spot in the UFC 100%. Looking forward to seeing what he could do next, because, listen, Palatnikov looked good, you know what I mean? Even though Koshke was gassed out, Palatnikov looked good. He can take a shot, even though he got KO'd twice by bums. Somehow can take it against Koshki, so well done to Palatnikov. I was wrong. Moving on, Kyle Daukaus versus Dustin Stoltzfus. Daukaus just outworked him in the clinch, outworked him on the feet, landed good combinations. I like the hands. You know what I thought in this fight, actually? I thought Daukaus should just give up on the takedowns. I didn't understand them. I didn't understand the clinch. I thought Daukaus was having an easy time on the feet with Stoltzfus, who just looked completely gassed out after the second round. And Daukaus just looked like he was picking him apart on the feet, but he just kept one in the clinch, kept one in the takedown. He clearly won the fight, in my opinion. He got the job done by decision, which I said he would get the job done by decision. I said it would be a 29-28 close decision. He ended up getting a 30-27 because he won the first round as well. Good performance from Kyle Daukaus. Looking forward to seeing him move on. 10-1 guy in the middleweight division. We can always do with new middleweights. You know what I would say to maybe do? Charlie Ontiveros, maybe another chance. I don't even know what they're going to do at middleweight with Daukaus, but I say give him maybe the winner of Deron Win versus Arroyo that just got signed now. Let's do Deron Win versus Antonio Arroyo at middleweight. The winner of that one will take on Daukaus. The winner of that one will get a jump up the unrankings. We'll see what goes on after that. Daukaus with a good performance. Not the most entertaining fight in the world, but still gets it done against a tough up-and-comer in Dustin Stoltzfus. Moving on up the card, Alan Jouban versus Jared Gooden. Amazing fight. Same with Koshke versus Palatnikov, by the way. Good fight. Amazing fight. But Jouban versus Gooden, great fight. Back and forth. Good shots from Jouban. Good shots from Gooden. Both guys were connecting big. Both guys looked like they were rocking each other in moments as well. Gooden was landing good shots to the body in the first round. Jouban was landing good kicks to the body as well. I thought the first round could maybe go to Gooden. Second round is definitely Jouban. Third round is Jouban as well. It was a close fight. Jouban got the job done 2-1. Very impressively. Got 2 submission attempts as well. I mean, it was just Jouban just seemed to have more in the tank than Jared Gooden as the fight went on, which is crazy to think of because Jouban's been out of the cage for so long. I picked Jared Gooden to win this one as an upset, as a TKO finish. I thought he would get the job done, but, you know, 27-year-old Gooden, up-and-comer, been active all throughout 2020, fought a bunch of times, beat some guys. I thought he would have a better cardio system than that. But Jouban, part-time fighter, part-time model, family guy, analyst, podcast, still has better cardio in the third round at 38 years of age than a young, hungry up-and-comer in Jared Gooden. So it was surprising. I picked Gooden to win. Jouban always seems to surprise me and he gets the job done. I'd like to see him stay a little bit more active though, because I don't like these 1.5-year hiatuses. Let's get Jouban back in there. Maybe even against Tim Means. Who knows? I wouldn't mind it. Moving on up the card to the prelims. Here's where things get interesting, and for the wrong reasons. Daniel Rodriguez versus Nicholas Dalby. What a robbery. What a robbery. But that was okay. It was a close fight, but you know why it was a close fight? because I say it was a close fight. It wasn't. In my opinion, it was a clear scoring to Daniel Rodriguez. Round 2 was iffy, but in my opinion, rounds 1 and 3, there's no denying they go to D-Rod. But Dalby went out there and he was just throwing so much that in my mind, I'm saying it's a close one because I can see the judges getting it wrong. I have to factor into my brain while I'm deciding which way a round goes to, the robbability of that round. How can this be robbed by the judges? I shouldn't have to feel that. And it feels like every single time these decisions happen, every single person in the MMA community knows who won the fight, other than the 3 people who are paid to know who won the fight. Every time there's one of these situations, the only 3 people that agree with the decision that's wrong are the judges. How? How is that actually possible? That every single person in the MMA community can see it one way. A couple of people saw it for Dalby, I'm sure, if they ain't watching, and they ain't counting the real strikes that landed. But that's the only way I could see them giving it to Dalby. He was throwing a lot of shots. Barely any of them were landing clean. Guess they gave it to him for that, but D-Rod outstruck him every single round. I mean, we can go to the stat page right now on the UFC stats. He outstruck him every single round of that fight completely and utterly and got robbed. There were no takedowns. Listen to this. There were no takedowns in that fight, and Daniel Rodriguez outstruck Dalby 31-17 on significant strikes in the first round, 17-9 in significant strikes in the second, and 35-24 on significant strikes in the third. He landed the better shots as well. Somehow doesn't get his hand raised. Bullshit. But Dalby gets it done. It was somewhat entertaining while it lasted. Wasn't the best fight in the world, but I thought that D-Rod had got it done. But, you know, that's just the way the sport works, I guess. Judges don't know what the fuck they're watching. Antonina Shevchenko versus Ariane Lipski was next on the prelims, and Antonina Shevchenko went out there and got a TKO in the second round. I know her sister said in her post-fight speech that she deserves a performance bonus. I wouldn't say so. I mean, let's calm down a little bit here. It was a decent performance, but it wasn't the best in the world. But she got the job done against Lipski, and I'm glad that she got a TKO finish because I like seeing women get finishes, adding to their highlight reels. Shevchenko got it done. She had some good scrambles, had some rough moments with Lipski on the ground where she looked like she had her leg entangled, stayed calm, almost gave up her back, but turned it over, got on top, and it was just dominance since there. Shevchenko had good positioning on top, landed some good ground and pound, and then Lipski get finished. Yeah, what more can you say? Lipski gets finished. Not a very good performance, but Lipski showed up, I guess. She looked kind of out of it, but to be honest with you, Lipski looked good on the feet, which was very strange because it was like the striker in Shevchenko. I picked her to win, by the way, 29-28 or 30-27, unanimous decision. The striker in Shevchenko and the grappler in Lipski. Lipski looked better on the feet, and Shevchenko resorted to the grappling and dominated her there. Very strange women's MMA, but she got it done. So good job, Antonina Shevchenko. Let's move her on up the division against another women's flyweight. One more win, then we'll jump her up the rankings one more time. We'll see what happens moving forward, though. Antonina Shevchenko, still around. Shevchenko sisters doing it big. Moving on. Joaquin Buckley versus Jordan Wright. I had money on Buckley by first round finish. So close to first round finish. It was so close. He had a great performance, by the way, Joaquin Buckley. It wasn't exactly what I was looking for because the way that Buckley came into this fight, people need to realize you can't judge Buckley the normal way you would judge another contender's performance. Because Buckley came into this fight where it was like, you've got to KO this guy in the first round now. You've been given Jordan Wright. He's the Beverly Hills Ninja. You know what I'm saying? He's beat absolutely nobody in his career whatsoever. He got KO'd by Hernandez in the first round on a contender series. Looked really bad, and that was the only good competition he's taken on his entire career, and he failed it. I thought Buckley was going to dismantle him in the first round. It was a little bit difficult. Wright landed some good shots. Held on okay there in the clinch. Landed some good knees, some good front kicks as well. A couple of good punches. But Joaquin Buckley was landing some good shots. Finished him off in the second round with a brutal combination. Wasn't quite the same highlight reel as he's used to, I'm sure, but still, he'll be happy with a KO win, I'm sure. It was a good performance by Buckley. Got the job done. I had money in the first round. It was so close at the end of the first round to being finished. Ended up going out there in the second and dusting him up straight away. Jordan Wright had a good showing for himself. For a guy that we didn't really think much of because of his padded record, he looked okay in the first round against Buckley. Do I think he's going to be a mainstay in the middleweight division? Most likely no. I say let's do maybe Dustin Stoltzfus versus Jordan Wright. Loser goes home. You know what I mean? Just really get this thing going and get rid of the people that we don't need and keep the people that we do need. But a good fight. Joaquin Buckley gets the job done, and he calls out James Krause afterwards, and James Krause is all in. Also, Joaquin Buckley weighed in a lot under the middleweight limit in this fight. I think that was a bit of a sign saying that he can go down to welterweight. They're going to go down to welterweight and make that fight. And honestly, I know people are going to say that Buckley's going to dust up James Krause. In the middleweight division, I think Buckley does probably beat James Krause. But in the welterweight division, you're talking different levels. Buckley ain't going to have that power. He ain't going to have that size. And he's going to be in Krause's world. And that's going to be a really good fight. I think it's very competitive. I'm going to watch more Krause fights and watch more Buckley fights to try and figure out who wins. I love the storyline. I love the call out afterwards where Joe Rogan had to make the call out for him because Buckley was so angry about it. I love a call out where there's emotion. You know what I'm saying? I don't like a call out where they're just saying the words. I like it when there's emotion behind it, and Buckley's there was emotion behind it. So I say put Buckley versus Krause as the co-main event of a fight night in the early next year, or as the headliner of a prelims of a pay-per-view. I think it would be better either way. Good shit from Buckley. Very good performance. Gets it done against Jordan Wright in spectacular fashion. It was a good TKO. Moving on. Up the card, Brandon Moreno versus Brandon Royval. I was looking forward to the Battle of the Brandons all week. Which Brandon is better and which Brandon will reign supreme in the flyweight division. I picked Moreno to win this fight 29-28 decision. Thought he'd be good in the grappling, be good on the feet, and pick apart Royval at range. Ended up taking him down, doing a bit more grappling than I expected. I thought Moreno would shoot some takedowns and do some grappling, don't get me wrong, but I didn't expect him to just take the back. Also, while it's just popped into my head, Moreno could have had such a free twister. You know what I mean? I know everyone else saw it as well, and I'm not going crazy here. There was a twister being handed to Royval, and it was so annoying that Moreno didn't do it, because if Bryce Mitchell sees that opportunity, he's got it. You know what I mean? If Korean Zombie sees that opportunity, he's got the twister. You know, even if it's Brian Ortega in there instead of Brandon Royval and the Korean Zombies there, that twister's getting had. You know what I mean? It's just Moreno didn't take it though. He wanted to keep the back. I think he was more focused at the time in getting his second hook in. He didn't realize that with one leg trapped on the back, he had a good position for a twister. I think he saw it as a disadvantaged position, which is obviously true because, you know, the guy can roll out of it and end up on top pretty easily. So it was a dangerous position. It's always a dangerous position to be in, especially with a dangerous, powerful guy at flyweight like Brandon Royval, who's got finishing ability in the first round. I'm sure Moreno was looking to play it safe. Ends up getting it done by TKO in the first. Shoulder pops out of place. Nothing to do with Moreno. Happened in a scramble. It seemed, luckily for Moreno, like he was going to probably win that fight anyway. He landed solid jabs on the feet, solid shots on the feet, period. Good takedown. Ends up taking the back pretty easily. Out scrambles Royval with the leg lock attempts. Tried to go for an ankle hook, did Royval at one point. Moreno just slides right out of it, gets back on top. It just seemed like Moreno was getting the better of him, so it made the stoppage seem more justified. It was a good TKO because all the referee is going to see is Royval screaming in pain and Moreno punching him. The referee doesn't know that the arm is out of place or anything, so it was a good call. I don't mind it. Sucks for Royval. They said he wants to get back in there because it has no recovery time on a dislocated shoulder, which I think he should take a couple of weeks maybe just to make sure. But still, they said they want to get Royval back in there. I say wait until maybe the prelims of the McGregor card in January. Give him a little bit of time. Then we'll put him on another card against maybe, who knows, Brandon Royval versus Rodrigo Bontorin, Brandon Royval versus Alex Perez. Both guys got finished, didn't take much damage in their fights. We can turn them back around quite quickly and get the flyweight division moving again. Royval versus Perez sounds good to me. Moving on, up the card to the main card, Shogun versus Craig. I had Craig by TKO in the first round. He ended up getting it done in the second, but it was a good performance. I like the improvements I saw in Paul Craig. And it was exactly how I predicted the fight, funnily enough. I said that Craig was going to improve. He looks like he's improved in his fights. His takedowns have gotten better. His education in the fight has gotten better as well. He doesn't overload on things. He doesn't overthrow shots. He doesn't go for ridiculous flurries against the cage. He looked improved. I like the takedowns. I like the transitions. I like the way he took the back and then just rained down punches. One thing I didn't like in this whole fight, other than the performance from Craig, it wasn't the most action-packed, don't get me wrong, but still it was a good performance by Craig to get the finish over a legend like Shogun. Watching Shogun tap to strikes, it hurt me inside. Because Shogun's a legend of the game. you know? And when you watch a guy, as much as he's Shogun, it is a bitch move to tap to strikes. And I'm not calling him a bitch. But, like, in the MMA world, seeing someone tap to strikes, it's like, oh, you're, like, you really don't like this. You know, like, it sucks to see it, man, because a couple of more punches and the referee's going to step in anyway. I don't like seeing the visual of a guy tap to strikes. It really irks me inside, and it hurt me to see Shogun do it, because I think that might be a sign that maybe it's the end for Shogun. I know he has one more fight on his contract. Maybe we'll get the new, I don't even know what we're going to do. Maybe we'll get the Nogueira quadrilogy for no reason whatsoever. Who knows, to be honest with you. I don't even know why we'd have the Nogueira fight again. But let's do it one more time. He's only beat him 3 times. You know what I'm saying? Shogun, retire maybe. Don't fight again. Please. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see you tap to strikes. It's a bad image after the savage I once knew you were. You know what I mean? Paul Craig, though. Good performance. I think he should take on Johnny Walker. Maybe a good fight with Magomed Ankalaev in a rematch. Elka Cliffy, man. Gets the job done. I'm so proud of him. My own people. He's not my own people, but I have Scottish ancestry, so I'll take it. I'm a bit Scottish in me, so I'll take it. Good old Paul Craig. I know I'm from London, but, you know, we're the same blood, Paul Craig, me and you. I'm not Jewish, though, as the Bear Jew dictates in his name. But still, Paul Craig, dangerous, looked good. I think move him up the division, give him a ranked opponent. I know he lost to Jimmy Crute, but he beat Ankalaev. Maybe do Crute versus Walker, Ankalaev Craig, Crute Craig rematch, Ankalaev Walker, Ankalaev Crute, Shogun, or Walker versus Craig. Those 4 are the guys that I'm looking out for right now. Let's mash them up all together. Moving on. Up the card, Caitlin Chookagian versus Cynthia Calvillo. Yeah, a little bit of a lull in the action. But a fight that happened, women's flyweight division again. Yeah, it was a good fight. It was a fight, and it was decent. It was a bit weird. I like that they make noises, but, like, please land some of them as well. Like, it was a decent one. 27-21 to Chookagian in the first round. I thought it was a close first round, but apparently Chookagian was landing more than I expected. I didn't see Chookagian land too many clean shots, but apparently they were landing cleaner than I thought. But it was kind of hard to tell with Chookagian's shots, because she was throwing so many, and so many of them were missing, that they kind of sort of disguised themselves with the misses and the lands. It was kind of hard to differentiate if it was landing or not, you know what I'm saying? But Calvillo did okay, landed good shots, won herself the 3rd round, 22-18 on strikes, did pretty good there, but, you know, Chookagian gets the job done. Good performance. Good performance by Chookagian. I mean, it wasn't fun to watch whatsoever, because, you know, women's flyweight, but they fight, and the bravery and the stunningness that I saw in there was ridiculously good. And I love it when they go ish 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 every single punch. It's very fun. Ish ish ish. Very fun. It's very catchy in my head, non-stop throughout the fight. You know, love it. But all good. Chookagian gets the job done. I think if they're going to do an immediate Andrade versus Shevchenko, which I wouldn't do, I want to build Andrade's name one more time against a good contender, but still, they're probably going to do Lauren Murphy versus Caitlin Chookagian. I am all down for that fight. Let's make it happen. Chookagian versus Lauren Murphy. The winner of that one's next to Shevchenko, I guess. This flyweight division is going to need some help. A good performance by Chookagian. Just outlanded her every round. Kept her at range. Both girls were landing good shots. It was a close fight, but Chookagian just landed a bit more each round. So, good stuff to Chookagian. Gets the win. Moving on. I picked Calvillo, by the way. Moving on up the card. Mike Perry versus Tim Means. I've made a full fight reaction to this on my channel right now. If you want to go check it out, it's right there. But still, yeah. Mike Perry ain't looking too good no more. 14-7 is his record. That got bad real fast. That's a 2-to-1 ratio, which ain't the best in the world. You know what I'm saying? That can be translated to 6-3. And, you know, 10-5. Like, it's a 2-to-1 ratioed record now. He's lost again to Tim Means. Even though he won his fight against Mickey Gall, that was such a gimme, and he made it so close. I was just expecting, with my pick of Mike Perry, for him to show up like he looked in a Luque fight. Because I think the Luque version of Perry can hang with the top guys in the welterweight division on any given night, but maybe not Colby or Usman, but still, like, he can hang in there with the good guys in the welterweight division if he shows up like he showed up against Luque. But it just feels like ever since that Luque loss, he's just never looked the same. He makes bad decisions in his life, and it's just worrying. But Tim Means, let's talk mainly about the performance, because I ranted about Perry enough. Means looked good. Piston fast jab. Right back to his face every time. Very nice boxing. Tim Means is known for his nice boxing. I should have picked him in hindsight. I was just hoping that Perry would have really taken it serious. He didn't look good. I should have seen it coming once I saw the videos of him eating burgers and not cutting the weight. So Tim Means gets it done. I thought the weight cut was going to give him a bit of an advantage, but he just gassed out in the third. And Perry gassed out quicker than Tim Means, who took it on short notice as a 36-year-old. So, like, you're doing something wrong, Perry, here. Obviously, man. Fix the shit up, or I'm going to slap your fucking head off. That Buck's looking for a flip-flap. I actually hate Perry after this. The meme lives on, and I'll always root for Perry. But fucking hell, Perry, man. You make it so hard when you're pulling shit like this and these kind of performances. Good job by Tim Means. Very good striking. I say do Tim Means versus, I think I just called someone on the rest of this card. Welterweight. Maybe Tim Means versus Joban would be a decent fight. Maybe Tim Means versus Lawler. Maybe give Tim Means the jump up. Who knows? I know Robbie Lawler would be open to that idea because that's a winnable fight for him. Tim Means, give him a jump up the rankings, or give him an up-and-comer that's going to get him then a jump up the rankings. Maybe a Sean Brady, something along these lines. But Tim Means look good. The Dirty Bird lives on, and Tim means business, and he meant business in that feature fight with a good performance and a great fight overall. Moving on up the card, Valentina Shevchenko versus Jennifer Maia. Fifth round. Oh, fun, finally. It was boring until the fifth round, and I'll say that over and over again until these fighters get a bit better. Wasn't too good in the first 4 rounds. Shevchenko lost a round to Maia, which wasn't expected. I was daring God to make Maia win this fight, which shows that God doesn't exist, because if he did, Maia would have won. I picked Shevchenko to win, though. I actually got a good specific bet. Not a bet, sorry. I got a good specific prediction. I said she was going to win by decision. It's not really about if Shevchenko wins anymore. It's about how does she win and in what way does she win. You know what I mean? So I said decision. Maia goes for takedowns. So did Carmouche. Shevchenko doesn't like being on her back. We saw that in this fight. She doesn't really have much from there, so she just avoids being there in the first place. She's got good takedown defense, but it seems like once she's on her back, it's kind of, I'll just sit here and win the next round, and you won't take me down next round. So, good job by Shevchenko to get back up. She lost a round for the first time. This was a good fight for many reasons. It was terrible for many reasons, including performance, because they did nothing in the first 4 rounds, other than hug each other. It would have been separated if it was a male fight, and would have been booed if it was a male fight, but they're female, so they're stunning and brave. Shevchenko, it opens some questions now. There are questions to be had, which is why I kind of liked this fight, now that it's done. Thank God it's done. But now that it's done, I liked the fight because now Andrade Shevchenko seems more interesting. Now we know Maia can put the pressure on in the second and get the takedown and land some decent shots in the fight. Not many of them, but still, it wasn't domination by Shevchenko. I think it's a good showing for Jessica Andrade to maybe get something done. I reckon Andrade could have a real good chance. I'd still pick Shevchenko, but I mean, that makes the fight more interesting. It's good to see weakness in your champion because it entices the viewer more to their next contender. Moving on up the card, Deiveson Figueiredo versus Alex Perez. I said that Figueiredo and Perez are going to stand on the feet. Perez is going to outland Figueiredo, and then Figueiredo is going to, once Perez shoots for a lousy takedown, whip up an arming guillotine and submit him in the first round. I said that word for word. I said he's going to be on the feet with Perez. Perez is going to be outlanding him, and then Figueiredo is going to get taken down by a bad takedown, and then he's going to whip up the arming guillotine and get the submission in the first round. I love that I got it correct. I'm very happy with Figueiredo. He's going to save the flyweight division. He had 167 followers. He had 1,607. He had 167,000 followers on his Instagram account. After that performance, he now has 173,000 and counting. That's a 6k increase. We'll see if it keeps going. I'm looking forward to seeing his name massive and multiply, because he can be a star of that division. And now he's called out Moreno, which I love again. I love it when a champion calls out their top contender, because I mean, people gave Adesanya credit for calling out Yoel, but he wasn't the top contender and he was coming off a bunch of losses, and Adesanya needed a dance partner. He needed a dance partner, so they took on Yoel Romero. But still, he didn't need to take the Moreno fight. He could have had Garbrandt off in injury after a long layoff, coming down to flyweight for the first time, big weight cut. He could have had that matchup and probably could have won it, and a big money fight. But he wants the top contender Moreno in December, and I've seen the interview now, guys. Dana White says that he's keeping him on the island, Moreno and Figueiredo. I think Figueiredo beats Moreno, but it's a good fight. They're making it in December, 256. I can't wait, man. I can't wait. Maybe it will even add to, I don't even know what they're going to do with it, but I think it's a 256 at the co-main event. great times to be a flyweight, honestly. Figueiredo saved the division. There were cage grabs, I know, I mentioned that in my full fight. I don't think they added to the finish whatsoever. Him grabbing a cage didn't put Perez's head into his guillotine. You know what I mean? That was kind of all Perez and all Figueiredo. The cage grabs at the start, the first cage grab, he grabbed it big. He grabbed the cage big, but Perez wasn't moving him at all. So it was kind of just like a reactionary grab. It didn't really change anything. The second cage grab sort of changed the momentum of Perez's takedown. But then after that, it was like, it wasn't as deep of a cage grab. He didn't tug on it. And he also afterwards started just pouring his hand on the cage to sort of guide his way along. So I don't think it wasn't too major. It was a problem though, obviously. Everyone's going to talk about the cage grabs now, but I think the performance, it wasn't reliant on the cage grabs. So although they're a problem and Goddard did slap his hand away and stop him from doing it, it didn't change the way anything went. So I think people were mostly okay with it, but obviously don't do that kind of stuff. I know it's reactionary for fighters. A lot of fighters grab a little bit of cage. Like, it's hard once you put your flat hand on a cage not to just stick them fingers in a little bit, you know what I mean? Like, I've never understood why people get blamed for putting their toes in the cage. It's a weird thing, the old cage grab. Hit and miss here and there, but I don't think it affected the win. He was going to get guillotined if he sticks his head in like that anyway. But good job by Figueiredo with a first round submission. Like and subscribe. Click that button up there. Great card overall. And Figueiredo saved the flyweights once more. First it was Cejudo. Now it's Figueiredo and he wants Moreno in December. If he wins against Moreno, first of all, Figueiredo's already one of the greatest fighters of the year. He's already, in my opinion, maybe the fighter of the year. If he wins in December, he's guaranteed, without a doubt, the best fighter of the year in 2020. And that's what he's going for. Because if he wins it in December against Moreno, there's no competition. 4 championship wins in 1 year. I mean, Figueiredo, if he wins in December, fighter of the year. Easy win. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. And that's what they're going for. Good times to be a UFC fan, man. It feels like it's never been better. See you later. Thank you for watching. Click that button up there. Goodbye. I desperately need a shit. See you later.